Steve, welcome to the line. I
Thank you.
appreciate you stepping up to the line with us here in Atlanta, Georgia. And we're at the Georgia Congress Center. And you were just telling me you only have so much time this morning because you're going to be at the Champions Breakfast. Tell us what that is.
Yeah, it's the Champions Breakfast. They bring most of the contestants are in there, sponsors, vendors, teachers. So they bring everybody in the morning, and then they've got some guest speakers that will speak. Normally, I don't have the time to stick around for that because I'm prepping for our group to come back down here for the Teamworks Challenge. But I've been fortunate enough. I've been with this event for almost 17, 18 years. And Scott Sheeler, the president of Construction Ready, he's asked me probably for the last 10 years, hey, will you do the housekeeping opening? So I come in front of the group, and I let them know all the safety logistics of the World Congress Center. I've been fortunate enough to do quite a bit of work in here with the company that I work for. So just kind of give everybody, hey, in the event of an emergency, here's where your exits are. You need first aid treatment. Here's where the first aid treatment is. Or you can come over to our Teamworks Challenge where I keep my trauma bag and my AED just in case. You never know. And just let them know where the bathrooms are, that vital information that everybody needs.
Yeah. One of the things that I missed here, and you kind of brought it to my attention, so your full name is Steve. I don't want to try to pronounce your last name.
Steve Necessary, like the word.
I thought that's what it said.
And being in safety, it's probably the most apropos last name that you could have.
Yeah.
And it's hard to forget, everybody that I come in contact with, it's, once I introduce myself, I may meet them 5 years down the road and it's like, I remember you. I remember that last name.
Yeah.
And it's good when you go to a restaurant. Because when you call back to get a reservation, it's like, oh yeah, I remember that name. It's like, so it is a little helpful.
And what's your position and who do you work for?
I work for Holder Construction Company. I'm a senior safety director. I've been with the company about 19 years. I've been in the safety trades in risk and safety for almost 38 years. Been in construction probably pushing about 42, 43.
Wow.
So I've seen the evolution of safety and the workforce.
Boy, that's a really good way to put it.
It's been an interesting ride, to say the least.
So, we've talked about this before, and I've worked on a job site. I've been on job sites where, I shouldn't tell you this, but where we had a code word on the radio for when you showed up.
Oh, yeah. 5-0.
Yeah.
5-0 showing up.
That role, I would love for you to talk about a little bit about that role and maybe even to other younger safety people who are out there. Because sometimes I think that your role is viewed as adversarial, and it shouldn't be.
Yeah. I will say in the past, it was always looked at like that. You were the safety police.
Yeah.
Don't know if you can say this, the safety Nazi, whatever the case may be. If your name didn't make it to the Porta-Johns, you weren't doing your job.
Anybody who's worked construction knows exactly what billboard he's talking about.
Yeah, and you've got to have your Sharpie and become an artist. But we used to be looked at as we were the bad guys.
Yeah,
we were as bad as OSHA.
Yeah.
But it has progressed, I will admit. We're now more of a teacher, a trainer, hopefully a mentor.
Mm-hmm.
But the big thing is, like with the younger safety associates that are out there, you've got to be able to take the knowledge, take the training that you've got, and you've got to figure out how to get the workforce to drink that Kool-Aid.
Yeah.
You get the older generation, the seasoned worker, they don't necessarily want to listen to that young greenhorn that's coming on site that, hey, this is the new toy on site. This is the new safety professional. They're going to test you.
Yeah.
And you've got to be able to handle it. And you've got to be able to go to that individual when they ask you a question. And if you don't have the answer, you've got to be honest. You've got to tell them, you know what? I'm about 80% sure.
Yeah.
But I don't want to give you inaccurate information. give me 5 minutes, let me go check something out, and then come back to that trade worker, that seasoned trade worker, and okay, this is what I have found out. They will respect you more than
100%.
if you're just going to rattle off some stuff, because they know what's going on. They know the difference between right and wrong.
Yeah.
And so you've got to be approachable with these folks. Yeah, back in the day, you've got your citation book, you're writing them up. You're running people off the job. That's long gone.
Yeah.
You've got to be able to relate. You got to show care and concern to the workforce out there. It's like we'd said earlier, it's changing.
Yeah.
You know, that seasoned professional with all that experience, they're retiring or they're already gone.
Yeah.
The up and coming generation, they're in it for the money. They're not as focused on the quality. The safety, you know, they may get engaged with it, but it depends on that safety professional. I've got some on a project that I'm on currently that the workforce, very approachable.
Yeah.
And I've worked hard to make that relationship, develop that relationship with them. So if I need something, I can go up to them, hey, can you help me out with this?
Yeah.
And they're willing to stop what they're doing and step up to the plate and help me out. Or if I see an issue, I can walk up to them and say, hey, this is what I see. What can we do here? How can we make this better?
Yeah.
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 And they're resourceful, and they will let you know, hey, I know this is what the process is, but I think if we implement this, it will make it safer. That's what we want them to do. We want them to be approachable with us in order to, you know, what our plans, our policies, our procedures, it's not all written in stone.
Right.
It's a living document. Our
Right.
plans and programs, we can alter them at any time. So if there's a better, safer way in which to do it, hey, the workforce, those people are the ones putting the bricks and sticks in place.
Yeah.
Me as a safety professional, I'm standing back where it's safe. I'm watching, you know. But if I can do something to help you be more productive, work safer, and make sure that you're going home safe to your loved ones at the end of the day, that's all I'm worried about.
I think Mike Rowe says it the best, and you know, maybe you won't like this, I don't know, but I love, you know, on job sites we see these signs: safety first, safety first, safety first. We see them everywhere we go, and the bigger the job site, the bigger the sign. And I watched an episode I used to watch with my kids when they were younger. I guess I was younger too. Dirty Jobs.
Okay.
And he did this show where he talked about safety, and he said the truth is, safety is third. And I was like, what do you mean? And he really broke it down really well. He said that, well, first we have a job to do. You know,
Correct.
we wouldn't, if it was all about safety, we wouldn't even leave the house. And he said, second, we need to make money.
Mm-hmm.
And third, we need to be safe. Because if we're not safe, then we're not going to get home, and we can't come back to do our job, and we can't make money, and we can't keep investing that. And it was like, it really, and I think that the main point of it was to break up the mindset of, we were always saying safety first, and then we wouldn't think about it. And the point is, you're supposed to think about what you're doing. You can get caught up in the busyness or the rush or the stress or whatever it is. Matter of fact, one of my most hated words, you can ask my children this, in the English language is hurry. Listen, I want you to be efficient, and I want you to get the job done. But hurry never has been good for anyone.
Yeah.
You know,
I
mean,
I agree.
That's when I've had safety accidents, when I would hurry. I remember I was a first or second year apprentice, and I was on a treatment plant project. We were doing a big wire pull, and we needed, you know, some soap or something, or a tool or something from the van. And I wanted my boss to know that I was there. I was a worker. I was really trying to show my salt, you know. And so I ran to the trailer to get it, and I ran back, and he called me by my last name. He's like, Malott. And I'm like, yes, sir. We don't run. He said, unless someone is bleeding, we don't run. And his point was not only what that communicates on the job site when you're running. I thought I was doing a good job, but he was talking to me about not hurrying because of what might happen when I do that.
That's true.
So
yeah, you know, when we're on the job, it's quality, schedule, safety.
Yeah. Interesting.
Some order
Yeah.
in there.
Quality, schedule, safety.
That's
Interesting.
and it was funny. I was talking with the high schoolers and the trade school kids over there yesterday, and I said, you know what, we had a very productive day. I said, and when we're on the site, I said we're always looking at quality, schedule, and safety. I said they change positions from time to time. It just depends on what's going on at the time. But I said, with what we had going on over here, I said, we were all safe yesterday. No issues. No safety issues whatsoever. I said, in the quality, I said, you're doing pretty good. I said, overall. I said, the schedule we're not worried about. That's something we're not concentrating on. And me being in the safety field, schedule, I'm not worried about that.
Yeah.
I don't even look at the schedule.
Yeah.
I need to look at it to see what upcoming high hazard activities might be
Right.
coming up. But other than that, whether we're hitting those scheduled dates,
That's
I don't
not
care
your
about it.
focus.
It's not my
Yeah.
focus.
Yeah.
I'm definitely focused on the safety. I'll look at quality as I'm walking around. If something's
Well, doesn't that tie
blatantly
directly
wrong,
into safety?
yeah,
I mean,
it can. And I'll point it out to the people responsible
yeah.
for the quality aspect of it all. But it's funny how they all may change position in a given day, as to what's going on. In construction right now, schedules drive everything, and
Wait, that anybody listening just went, no shit.
But it's kind of funny that here in the States, you may chase a job with a client and here's your schedule, and as soon as you sign and you start working, usually the client's coming to you, hey, can you cut 60 days out of that schedule?
Yeah.
Can you cut 90 days out of that schedule?
Oh, I could tell you the jobs that I'm involved with right now that are like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then it's okay. Yeah, we're going to do everything humanly possible to do that. But then what's that affecting? That's affecting the safety, because now what are we having to do? Are we having to work longer hours?
Yeah.
Are we having to double up on staff?
Yeah.
What it's affecting, it's a snowball effect. I know over in Europe, I was over there looking at a job once, and they're doing the same project that we're doing, and their schedule is this, and our schedule is this, and they just pretty much draw the line in the sand. This is the amount of hours we're going to work a week.
Yeah.
It's just that simple,
Yeah.
and that's what they stick to. And it was funny. I'm over there and I'm watching it, and they're very thorough in their process. They will bring teams in and they will do this section of work, and then they leave the site and the next group comes in.
Really?
And it's
you
like
you don't put 20 pounds of something in a
No.
5-pound can.
no. It was
Yeah.
funny. I was watching some guys pour some concrete, and they were pouring about 200 or 300 yards of concrete, and I'm looking around, and there's only about 8 or 10, 12 guys, and their equipment looks beautiful, looks brand spanking new. And they finished up, and I asked them, I said, so how many yards did you pour? And they told me. And I said, well, where's the rest of your crew? And they go, no, this is it. I said, you're kidding me, right? And they go, no, this is our crew. And I said, so is that equipment brand new? Oh, no, that equipment's like 4 or 5 years old. And they just work so efficiently. Everyone knows what the other one is doing. Like we'd said earlier, they look at it as a profession, not a job.
Come on.
And
Come on.
and then they went and I told them, I said our crew would be 3 times the size, and the equipment would look like it's been beat to death.
We
That-
do
like
do
we've
that.
had it 30 years, and it. So I got there talking with the guys and just asking about hours that they worked and this, that, and another. And I was kind of laughing, and he goes, well, what are you laughing about? And I said, if we were to bring you all over to the States, we'd kill all of you in like 2 weeks. I said, because we work 90 hours a week, and, because we've got to get it done.
Yeah.
But, it's the nature of the beast. It's how it's structured. So we've got to figure out the best way in which to be able to deal with it.
Can we go a little deeper on that? And I've done this a couple times to people. We don't edit anything on this podcast. So if you want it edited, you have to edit it up here before it comes out here.
Okay.
Because
Gotcha.
we believe that tradespeople really want the real and authentic. And so we can't edit it because
Yeah.
they'll be like, what are you trying to hide? So, but to that point, you say, that's the way that it is, and that's the way that we work it here. Is it the way it should be?
I think we should be a little more educated in our schedules. Everybody wants to talk work-life balance.
Yeah.
Okay, we can talk about it. I think the expectations are maybe too high, and I think we're afraid to say no. At the end of the day, we're afraid to stand up and say, with that schedule, that's overly aggressive.
Yeah.
Versus, okay, that's kind of aggressive. No, that's overly aggressive. And we can't work our people to death, because an 8-10 hour day, usually people can maintain a pretty high level of focus during that duration. You start hitting the 12, the 14 hours a day, and you're doing it 6 days a week, or you're doing it 7 days a week. I know we've got a fatigue management program, and if you're involved in a high risk activity, this is your set number of hours, and then you've got to have 48 hours off. Well, I'm a safety professional. I'm out there on the job. I'm having to think on my feet quickly all the time. Does that fall up underneath that high risk?
Yeah.
The drywall guy just hanging board, is that a high risk? Maybe he's working on the ground. You could classify everything as a high risk. Just depends on what lens you're looking through.
Yeah. That's a difficult part about safety.
It is. At times you're really splitting hairs on your observation of the activities that are taking place.
What is the if you were going to speak to everybody listening, and they're out on the job sites, or they're a lot of guys will listen to this podcast while they're getting what we call windshield time, while they're driving to the job. What is the number one thing that you would tell them from a safety standpoint? And then I have one more question that I want you to answer, and I'll let you go.
Okay. It's with the workforce out there, I think they need to be approachable. If there's an issue, I know ego is big in construction. Mm-hmm. You know that as well. You have to be approachable. Your ego, you've got to leave it at the gate.
Boy, that's the truth.
Because at the end of the day, and it's something I talk about a lot on the project that I'm on, we spend more time together on a project site than you do with your family.
That's the truth. Plain simple. Yeah.
We're our brother's keeper.
Yeah.
It's like we're in a foxhole. We've all got to look out for one another. So if you're the electrician and I'm the painter and I see you doing something not quite right, I want to come up and point it out to you. You got to park your ego at the door.
That's
hey, Mr. Painter, I saw this, and I remember him talking about this in one of the safety meetings. And, I just want to make sure that you're focused on it so that you don't get hurt.
Yeah.
You've got to be able to take that content, that criticism, those comments, however you want to wrap it up and sell it, you've got to be able to take that. Because at the end of the day, it may save a finger, save you from a fall, something, even more, much more violent in a sense. So everybody's got to be approachable at the end of the day, regardless of what your position is. Everybody that's on a project site has a job and has a voice, and they've all got to be respected.
There it is.
If it's the composite cleanup crew, to the drywaller, to the electrician, to that tower crane operator, whomever it is, everybody there at the end of the day is trying to look out for one another. But a lot of folks will not say anything. I hear it all the time. Well, no, I don't work for you, Holder. I don't work for this guy. I don't answer to you. I only answer to this company. It's like, no. You're here on the project site. Yeah. We're one big happy family here. We might not be happy all the time, but we're one family here looking out for one another. I have no problem saying on a job, I can't be everywhere all the time. I need your help with safety. Yeah. When I got the client safety guy coming in, hey guys, he's coming in. Let's make sure we've got our A game. Everybody knows the right thing to do.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
Yeah.
That's all I'm asking. Let's just do what we know we can do. We've hired all of you all because of your expertise. If we knew how to do it all or could do it all, we would do it and we'd make even more money.
Yeah.
But we're here managing the project.
Yeah.
So, the approachability is one of the big things that I think every construction worker's got to have.
Yeah. I agree. Well, I would ask you one more question, but I don't want to get in trouble with the boss.
You and me both.
Yeah. So I think we're out of time and you have to go. But Steve, I really appreciate you taking the time to climb up here, have this conversation, step up to the line. You're with Holder Construction. It's encouraging as a specialty contractor to hear you talk about schedule and how we might need to say no. It's encouraging to hear that because general contractors are the ones in charge of that. Specialty with contractors, we don't get to, and I am as guilty as the next person of being, you talked about this, fear, being afraid and being like, yeah, we can do that schedule because we want the job.
Yeah.
And when we do that, and I understand the fear, I get it, but fear never leads to good decisions, ever.
No.
And so I appreciate you saying that. If you're a general contractor out there listening to that, we need you to lead us in changing the way that we do things. So
yeah, it's such a fast-paced world. We do a lot of hyperscale data centers, and it's
Yeah.
like go.
yeah,
And there is a time and a place.
yeah,
Is it every job constantly? Maybe it is. Maybe it didn't. I don't know. We've got to look out for the welfare of the workforce and our own employees at the end of the day.
Yeah.
Burnout is very real.
yeah,
And
dangerous.
And dangerous.
They say being tired is worse than driving drunk.
Yeah.
Like,
Oh
being
yeah.
Exhausted.
Yeah. That's it. And just the mental drain.
Yeah.
Of the work that they're doing and trying to maintain a safety culture and having to stay focused. Yeah. There's a drain on the body. So
Yeah.
you got to stay awake, aware, and alert. That's what how construction is.
Well, that's a great place to stop, to say that you have to stay awake, aware, and alert. When you're out on the job site today, that's what you want to be doing. Whatever you're doing, whether you're sitting at a desk or you're operating a machine or you're wiring a panel, stay awake, stay aware, stay alert. So, Steve, thank you so much.
Yeah, I appreciate it
stepping up
very
to the
much.
line.
Anytime.
We're still recording. Oh, we're still here. So he left, and I'm here and still talking. It's interesting listening to what Steve with Holder Construction was saying. I think what I was getting out of when he was talking about ego, I read a book called Ego is the Enemy by a guy by the name of Ryan Holiday. And it's a book, Ryan loves the Stoics. And it's a book that really affected me in the way that I enter a job site. And I think in construction in particular, ego is a huge, huge thing that we don't even sometimes realize we have. Just the other day, I was on a site and I got offended by the way that someone responded to me. And anytime that that happens, ego just starts to rise up. Like, wow, I can't believe they didn't give me the respect that I deserve. I can't believe that they didn't talk to me the way that they should talk to me. And all of that came out of being offended. And I don't know if I've ever said this on the podcast before, but one of the biggest things that I think that I hate that people say is I'll be in a meeting or something, and if you say to me, well, I don't get offended. Well, first, I think that you're lying to yourself and to me. I believe we all get offended. The difference is how quickly we deal with it. And I don't think that we should ignore being offended. Sometimes maybe someone did something wrong, but either way you have to deal with it. But if we lay in that offendedness and we wallow in that, nothing good comes of it. Because that's where ego and offense, they come together and they create this superpower that is an apocalyptic destroyer of relationships, of job site success, of building, all of it. It just all crumbles because we're wallowing in our offendedness. And so what we need to do, you get offended internally, you just need to look internally and be like, you know what? I need to deal with this. Did what they say have any truth? Was there any truth? And I'm telling you, this is the difference between someone who is going to learn and grow and move on in life and someone who is not only going to stay where they are, but regress. And it really happens. There are people all throughout history that were on a trajectory to climb, and they decided to wallow in their offendedness, and it turned them in an opposite direction. There are people in my life, and I have done it as well. But the thing that we need to do is we look at the offense, and it's like, was there any truth to it? And if you can face that and look at it and acknowledge the truth that might have been in what they said, forget the way that they said it. Maybe they treated you like shit. Maybe they talked to you like you were worthless. It doesn't really matter if what they said had truth, if you want to learn. And so you have to look at that. And then you look at that, you deal with it in your own life, and you can move on. And you can grow and you can get beyond it. And maybe there will be an opportunity for you to say, hey, I appreciate what you said to me, but the way that you said it made it really hard for me to receive. So now let's flip the coin to the other side, and you're the person that's giving whatever it is that you're giving to someone else and you've offended them. You do have to think about the way that you communicate what you say. Whether you're a safety guy like Steve is, or whether you're a trades worker, you have to think about the way that you communicate things. Like he talked about, the relationship of a safety person on the job and the trade person on the job and how they need to come together and they need to work. That safety person needs to be honest about, I'm 80% sure, he said. But the tradesperson also needs to not be like, you know what I know. The reality is things are changing every single day. New technology, new ways of doing things, and safety rules and laws are changing every single day. And I'll be honest, I don't like them all either, but we have to look at the way that we're interacting with people, how we're dealing with it and what we're doing, and make sure that we're communicating in a way that is receivable and in their language. And we also need to make sure that we're not letting offense be something that we wallow in and live in that moment. There's some excavators off to the right here, and I can think of times where I've seen an excavator actually get stuck, or a dozer or something like that. It gets stuck, and it's like it's in the muck and the mud, and it cannot get out. The deal is that you do not want to become that in your job, in your role, and it goes both ways. So I think what Steve was talking about, ego ties into being offended. And we need to keep moving through that. And the quicker that you can move through being offended and acknowledge to yourself at least that you've been offended, it helps you be able to face it and deal with it and be able to move on. I really have enjoyed being here and talking with different people in Atlanta at this expo where people are training, competing, and it's exciting to see the desire of the next generation that wants to be in this workforce. And a lot of these young people that are here, they want a job in the industry because people have shown them what it can be. People have invested in lifting the view of the skilled trades to communicate, hey, this is what work can look like. This is what it can be when we do it right. So I would encourage you to check out Construction Ready, Skills USA. And if you're an employer or you're a worker, or even if you're a father or a mother, look at that stuff for your kids. Look at that stuff for new hires coming in. Some of the smartest companies in the area here are at this event because they're recruiting. I asked a company the other day, I said, well, how do you measure success here? And he says to me, he goes, well, I believe that it's based on how many people we get and we get them into a job. And it's like that's the reality of it. There is a huge deficit in the workforce. And if we can get people young and train them in the way that your company wants to work, that is the best possible solution. Train them in the You know, for us it would be the Black Line way, but for you it might be the Holder way, or it might be, you know, Strack way. It might be the Plateau way. You know, I'm trying to think of other people that are here. The reality is, you want to get people, you want to teach them your culture, you want to teach them your way, so that you can continue to have that and move forward with them. So, Steve isn't here anymore. I really appreciate him taking the time to talk with us this morning. He is off now talking to all of these companies about housekeeping, about the safety of how we do things and why we do it the way that we do it. Have a right attitude towards your safety person when they come out on the job. And safety people, like Steve said, have a right attitude towards the people that you're trying to keep safe. If they don't feel like you care about them, then you probably shouldn't be a safety person. If they don't feel like you're there to look out for them, if you're just kind of, you know, the guy on the anthill with the magnifying glass going, I gotcha, you know, it's not the job for you. You need to have care in your heart for the people that you're trying to send home to their families, because you want them to have a relationship with you so that they want to heed what you say instead of just ignore you once you leave the job. So, appreciate you guys listening today. Step up to the line today. Build your culture. Do your job. Do the work. All right. Thanks.